over here.
What are you doing?
This is where I last saw her.
This is morbid, Papa.
The last day of the dials. The other girls threw her a little party. 30 to 40 girls on the floor. And me. Watching over them.
We shouldn't be in here. This building's might come down.
Oh, and that business with the brushes? I didn't invent that. It was Von Sashki's process. His invention.
It was years ago, Papa.
You know, people try to blame me for that, but I wasn't the technical man. I had my shareholders to think about. Gentlemen, we stand today at the threshold of a new era. An era of ingenuity. An era of possibility. Marked by the marriage of commerce and science. Radium, my friends, is the fruit of that marriage. And like the automobile before it, like the telephone and the telegraph, this miracle element began as a novelty and is now a necessity of daily life. Luminous watches, luminous dials, these were agents of victory in Europe. And now, radium is about to become the agent of a new victory. The coming victory over cancer.
Arthur, what a day.
Ben, what did I tell you? They love us.
Did you guys see Von Sashki? White as a sheet.
He's here?
Back to the hall.
I'm surprised he had the nerve.
Oh, hold on, boys. Miss Wiley. What a pleasant surprise. I'm Charlie, Dan. You remember Miss Wiley of the Consumers League?
Gentlemen,
Miss Wiley was our value partner in last spring's laundry crisis.
Miss Wiley, no more complaints, I hope, from the housewives in Orange.
the laundry is fine. Thank you, Dr. Lehman.
Ought to be. We spent a lot of money on those filters.
The fact is, I'm here on that other matter.
Oh, your letter. This is not the best time, Miss Wiley.
I was hoping that you might answer the immediate question.
I'll answer it. There's no white phosphorus in the paint, Miss Wiley.
The young lady's condition.
There's no white phosphorus anywhere on the property.
Then how do you explain the bone decay in her jaw?
This is one of our girls you're talking about.
A former employee left us about 2 years ago.
Why don't you talk to her current employer then?
She's not working currently. She's too ill.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Wiley, but let me assure you, we're taking the concerns very seriously.
We're consulting with the Harvard School of Industrial Medicine.
You mean Dr. Drinker?
Oh, you know him.
Fairly well. The chair of our league is a colleague of his.
Then we can agree. Whatever Dr. Drinker concludes, you'll be satisfied.
I expect so. Thank you, Mr. Reader. Gentlemen.
Oh, and have some cake, Miss Wiley.
Whatever the trouble is, it can't be anything at the plant.
Well, we'll look into it. Meanwhile, Charlie, you just keep smiling.
You should have seen it, Grace. The church was filled with flowers, lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids.
Those were flags.
Orchids.
Flags.
I think I know an orchid when I see one, Irene. Purple orchids. Oh, and Grace, that smell was like
Flowers.
like heaven. I was gonna say like heaven.
Like heaven, Catherine. It was just a funeral. You make it sound like it was some sort of Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral, it was Amelia's, and it was beautiful. The church was like a botanical garden. Oh, and the company sent flowers too, a big spray of carnations.
Sounds like a nice service anyhow.
Surprised you wasn't there, Grace. What happened? How to keep you out late for the pictures?
Wasn't near that exciting. Ma had work to do, so I took the kids to the park. Girls, the whistle's already gone. Now then, I received new instructions this day. We're going back to the old way of putting the brushes. We was losing too much paint in the cloth.
But I was told...
Yes, Grace, something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Sashki told me not to do that. Says it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary. I can hardly believe he'd say that. The man invented the paint. And you're not to be sharing brushes either. Each girl is to get her own brush. And you're not to get a new one until the old one is so bad you can't make a point no more.
How can you make a quota like that?
It's not for us to be asking questions, is it, girls? It's for us to do the work.
It's not for us to be asking questions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Get some of the starch out of your corset.
Was she at the service?
McNeil, Are you kidding?
Dr. Von Sochke was, though, and Mr. Reader. Oh, and Grace, that fellow from Crystallizing. Oh, what's his name? The one with the red hair, the tall one with the freckles?
Oh, it's Jerry.
I think it's George.
It's Jerry Malone. He's the one always talking to Amelia in the day room.
Oh, and Grace, when Mass was over, he goes to the coffin, like this he goes.
Really?
Really?
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her, that's so what? Don't you think so, Grace?
I guess he had to be if he did that.
Can you imagine if he loved her but never told her, never could bring himself to say, because she was so beautiful and he was so shy. But now it's too late. He didn't tell her, and they'll never get the chance to again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Every one of them crying. Even her father just bawling like a baby.
And you know why.
Because their daughter had died.
What she died from.
Don't go spreading stories.
It's not a story her sister told us. No reason Grace shouldn't know.
No what? What?
Amelia? Her father's fit to be tied to. 6 girls at home and none of them ever gone to dance again. All because Amelia up and died from syphilis! I can't help it if that's what she died from.
But Amelia was ever so
I
nice.
guess she got around more than we knew. Girls, your attention, please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
And to explain some changes, yes?
Yes, as you may have heard, Dr. Von Sochke is stepping down as company president. And he wanted to take this opportunity
To make with goodbyes. Ladies, many of you I've known since you were little girls coming here to work during the war. 200, 300, 500 dials a day.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, the Doctor is a very busy man and must be on his way, so let's just wish him the best of luck in his new business ventures.
And let us good luck wish to you as well, Mr. Reader, with the new direction you intend the company to take.
New direction?
With the slowdown in dial painting.
Now, Doctor,
And business moving to the medical market.
Medical market? What is he talking
There will
about?
be a lot of changes, yes?
Too many, I didn't know. Hello?
what the Doctor is referring to, some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios.
Which means less work for our girls here.
In the short run. However, the Waterbury Clock Company still needs help with its new studio. We had planned to make the announcement next week, but we'll make it now. Ms. McNeil?
We'll be asking some of you girls to go on up there. Catherine Schwab was one, and Louise Conlon. I have the list downstairs.
We'll post it today. Now, girls, we're all on the clock, so we'll leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies, and my best wishes to you.
That's back to work with you girls.
You gonna do it, Catherine? You gonna take that job?
I will if you do.
Tommy would have a fit.
Just for a few months.
Oh, come on, Grace, it'll be fun. Wouldn't it be fun, Irene? Irene? Irene, honey? You all right?
Sure, of course. Why wouldn't I be?
Your mouth is bleeding.
When you get to be my age, with a house full of kids, you'll thank God for every penny you put by.
You got money put by.
Oh yeah? How much?
Enough to get married on.
Don't take much to get married on. You got enough to stay married on?
You let us get married. We'll figure that out.
You still eating, Tommy?
It's good.
You're gonna get fat. Gotta keep his strength up. He works hard for his money. Didn't say nothing. Was your father with the roof over this? Most girls give their eyes teeth for a job like that. And good work, easy money. Lots of nice looking fellas around the plant.
You didn't tell me about them, Grace.
And up and quits the place. I'm tired of it, she says. Are you tired of the paycheck, guy says? Who needs a paycheck, she says. I got me a boyfriend to take me out on Saturday.
She said that.
You know I did it. And for your information, I got a job. I started at the bank on Monday. Oh yeah? How much does that pay? Enough. Enough. You know what that means, Tommy? Don't pay her nearly as much as they paid her at the Radium plant. It's office work. Office work? Guess that means I'll be spending more money on clothes.
Whew, boy, she stings you.
I don't see what difference it makes, so long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Sure, I like it, but I've been up there 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail 8 years, and I plan to keep on delivering mail another 20 or 30 years, if I'm lucky. Steady work, Grace. Helps you sleep at night.
Close your eyes.
What for?
I got a surprise for you.
You want me to pull the shades?
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Now look,
Wallpaper?
for the baby's room.
Baby's room? You want to kiss me and you're talking about babies?
There's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, Grace, but most girls, they get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they're not. This one has small flowers and this one has big ones. So pick one.
This some kind of test?
It's just wallpaper.
It is some kind of test.
Pick one, Tommy.
That one.
Really?
The other one, then.
Which one do you like, though?
They're both nice.
That one's pretty, don't you think?
That one, then.
But I want you to like it, too.
Hey, if you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper is wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20
The
years.
same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants. You won't never get that kiss.
All right, this one. This one, hands down.
I like it, too. A nice neutral yellow will go with either a boy or a girl, and until the baby comes, you can use the room for other things.
Other things? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe.
A painting studio, maybe. Didn't you get enough paint at the Radium plant?
Not the kind I wanted to do, Tommy. I just want some time, just a little time to myself, so as I can do watercolors or oils, maybe portraits in oil. I can paint your picture if you like.
Sure, why not? Paint my portrait and we'll hang it in the outhouse. All our friends will come around just so they can use the can. Just so they can look at it.
You talk sometimes.
Oh, Grace, you want to paint pictures? Paint pictures. I ain't gonna stop you.
You say that now, Tommy, but wait till you come home some night, all worn out. Some Christmas maybe when every customer on your routes had 3 times the mail. Maybe some dog took after you. And some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop telling you all about her grandchildren. And you wouldn't have the heart to tell her you can't talk. I know you. So you come home, all cranky and late besides, hungry, wanting your dinner. And there I am with my easel set up in the kitchen, my drop cloth on the floor, my paints all over the table, and your dinner nowhere in sight. What would you say then?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
Well, sure, but I still admire the painting. Just want to look on a full stomach, that's all. So, how'd I do? Pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go look at stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, I don't care. Tell your ma we ain't waiting no more. We'll just run off.
Tommy, we're not running off. We're going to do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music, and then a week at the seashore, just us. Then after that, we'll get set up in our own place. It'll be worth the wait. You'll see.
Your mouth hurt you?
Dentist wants to pull another tooth in the back.
What's a tooth?
Harriet! Get down from that tree at once.
I'm waiting for Papa.
I'll send him up after you when he gets here.
Harriet?
Papa, I can see clear to the church.
Do you see your grandfather?
You think this is funny?
Oh, she's 9 years old, Diana.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Well, time is on your side. In another year or two, she's going to lose all interest in trees, develop a fascination with boys.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
That's what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're the supplier. Do you want to try it?
If it will give me vitality, how can I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case?
6 kids at home, all under the age of 4.
And the father has been laid off of, let's see, the brickyard.
How did you know?
He came by to see me yesterday. You know, it's never enough for him to have an ordinary ambition. You have to have a mission in life.
And you do?
Well, I can't hand out jobs that don't exist.
What about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Couldn't you use some assistance in the laboratory?
Dan needs trained technicians, not some bricklayer.
There must be something you can do.
I can get my checkbook.
Artie, the man needs a job, not charity. What is it your father always says? A working man needs to work. It wears on his soul.
not to work. All right. If it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll talk to Dan.
You're a good man, Artie.
You do love being married to the company president.
It has its advantages.
Well, I make no promises.
No promises.
To your help.
I'm sorry, I don't find anything under Schwal.
It's Rudolph.
Rudolph?
The girl I'm asking about, Irene Rudolph, my cousin.
Did she file the complaint?
No, the dentist.
Dr. Neff?
And he said she might have phossy jaw like they got up in the match factories, and he said he'd complained to the health department, but it's been 6 months and he hasn't heard.
Phossy jaw, you say?
Catherine, maybe it was like Irene's doctor said. Maybe it was a blood infection.
But what was it from?
From dirt. You get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad she couldn't eat no more. You think you get that from a little dirt? You get that from phosphorus.
Phosphorus?
Yeah, go ahead and laugh. You won't be laughing so hard 6 months from now when it's you in here asking after Grace.
It's just a toothache, Catherine.
That's how it started for Irene. You just wait, Grace. Soon you'll be so weak and sick you can't stand up. Your gums will hurt so bad
Stop
you can't
it,
open your
Catherine.
mouth. Your face so swollen you can't get
Listen,
a sight of
stop
yourself. Yeah, a toothache. A toothache and a backache. And what else was it you said, Grace? A sore leg that won't quit?
What's her leg?
From my new job at the bank, from standing all day.
It's not from the bank and you know it.
Irene Rudolph.
That's it.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor regulations. See for yourself.
Paint is a harmless compound made of radium and zinc.
They also screened a number of the employees. Blood work was all normal. There's a copy of the report right here. Harvard study.
Let's get some lunch.
I want to file another complaint.
Oh, brother.
Catherine, these folks, they're awful busy here.
3 surgeries, Grace, and they wanted to cut her again. She said no. She knew. What was left of her jaw rotted so bad, I couldn't look at her anymore. God, she was so afraid of being alone, and I left her alone. She died in the middle of the night and no one was there with her.
I'm sorry, can we have another form, please?
Is the girl still sick?
She died.
Wait right here.
Ah, Miss Fryer.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to meet with me.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
I told the surgeon I was coming over here, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Ah, very good. Why, I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does.
That's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a back brace for about 6 months now.
I see. And this started before you left the company or after?
After. My dentist, Dr. Neff, says this all has to do with the radium. I know another girl who died from it, Irene Rudolph.
Ah, Rudolph, terrible thing. Vincent's angina. That's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
No. An unfortunate and rare result of poor dental care. So let that be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else in the paper. Other girls who got sick.
Miss Fryer. Don't tell me you pay attention to the newspapers.
I'm almost certain.
No. Those stories are not scientific. You must listen to science and ignore the nonsense in the newspapers. Because I can tell you right now that radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
Then what's ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help with the anemia. Raw calf's liver, particularly. Oh, no. I'm a scientist, Miss Fryer, and I take purely scientific interest in your case. By allowing me to examine you, you are helping to further my studies. I thank you. Call me anytime, day or night.
All right, Dr. Flynn. Thank you. Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD, that's not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
He's seen half a dozen girls.
Word I hear, he's working for the company.
An objective evaluation, I trust?
The source of my funding has no bearings on my research.
And I let that fellow examine me.
It was not a medical examination, no. I merely consulted him.
How are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted reveal no adverse effects of radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene.
It's exactly the way you said, Catherine. These people will say anything, they'll do anything, except the right thing. We're gonna make them. We're gonna make sure someone hears about this.
My statement of fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
We do not have to accept injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence the practices of those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Miss Wiley, I'm Grace Fryer. The health department said you might be able to help me. Oh my goodness. Yes, Miss Fryer, I've been meaning to call on you. Me and my friend Catherine, we wrote to the company about our troubles, but we never heard back, so I went to see a few lawyers.
But they all said it's too late.
Something about the law won't allow it. The statute of limitations, it's 2 years. And one lawyer, he wanted $1,000 up front. I already spent every penny I saved for my wedding on doctors and dentists and hospitals, and I still don't know what's wrong exactly. But Tom here says he don't care.
We just need to settle her debts.
So as we can get on with things.
So as if we get a little compensation.
Do you think we could?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far would you be willing to go with this?
Ma'am.
Suppose I do find you a lawyer to take your case, and then the company says, here's some money for you. Only you're not to tell anyone what we've agreed upon.
Confidential settlements?
That don't seem right.
It isn't right, but that's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale?
No, ma'am.
Miss Fryer, if you would be willing to put aside your needs for the moment, we could stop that company dead in its tracks.
How?
Hit them where it matters most, their public image. When every newspaper in America tells of your story, how you were sorely treated, how you suffered, and how the company denied all responsibility, believe me, Miss Fryer, Arthur Reeder would come to my table with his hat in his hands.
And then I'd get my compensation?
I know it's a little frightening.
Yes, but right now I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hold on to that anger, Miss Fryer, because you're going to need it. Only, be sure no one sees it.
Ma'am.
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer, that's our strongest weapon. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4th, 1927, Jackie Youngwood reporting for the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source of news. Nancy Jane Harlan with the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter. On the strange case of the Radium girls, who claim they were poisoned at the hands of their employer.
Ask me, it's all a sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of working, sure.
Doctors say the Radium girls have only a year to live. Only a year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money? What would you do with 250 grand?
I'd buy a wardrobe like Irene Castle.
I'd give it all to charity.
I'd put a stock market.
I buy my wife a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills.
And to pay down the second mortgage on my house, the one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home,
Suffering bravely through this entire ordeal.
It hurts to smile, but I try to smile. I know if I don't smile, I'll go crazy.
But it must get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through and the company getting fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is,
No comment.
I'd rather just think about how it's going to be when justice prevails.
What a fine example of womanhood. We should only aspire to bear our cross in life as nobly as this young girl.
A long time, and I know. When a lawyer tries his case in the newspapers, he doesn't have much of a case.
What is your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl.
That's not even a year's wages.
We think it's very generous, considering your case won't even survive the statute of limitations.
We believe the court will find that it does.
The court can't rewrite the law. 2 years from the date of injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years from the date that the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative, Miss Berry, but you've got a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take a great interest in this story and in the U.S. Radium Corporations' complete indifference to its workers.
More good press for the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
The arrogance of that man.
Tell me again the purposes of these articles, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Miss Berry. That's the engine of reform.
How does it help the girls to read in a dozen different newspapers that they only have 1 year to live?
Miss Berry, surely you can see the company cares nothing about the girls it's poisoned. But the average housewife cares very much. These women shop, they buy watches. Mr. Martin can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League campaign is working, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Miss Berry. Wait and see. Dear Miss Shaw, I read of your sad story in the Boston Globe, and I am sorry for your plight. I would like to share with you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It's called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fryer, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlanta Constitution, and I have a solution. Venacine, a wonder tonic made from all natural ingredients. We would like to offer you a lifetime supply of Venacine in exchange for exclusive rights to use your picture in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I read about you in the Billings Gazette. I run 100 head of cattle up here and do fairly well for myself. I have always longed for a companion, and I am well prepared to offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. Surely you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness. Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed is my picture.
You all right? Leaving again. Maybe we should go. You need your sleep. Afraid to sleep. Might not wake up.
Catherine, look at all this mail. Miss Wiley said folks would be on our side, and she sure was right.
Grace, what if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
But what if we don't? We'll be on the streets, and you and Tom won't never get married.
All we gotta do is get on the stand. Just think of the look on Mr. Reader's face when the judge rules in our favor.
It didn't have no vanilla, so I got chocolate.
Took you long enough.
Oh, don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me on the way over here. All of them reporters and all of them asking for you.
Waiting for me to die.
No one is waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mom, asking if I had died yet. When she said no, they sounded disappointed.
Evening, girls. How about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We need a picture from the graphics exclusive.
Exclusive!
$5,000 sound good to you? Perhaps you're familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who? That fake dealer?
Herbalist, Mr. Creeder. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapies are just what these girls need to get back on their feet, and the graphic will pay for it. All we ask is for the exclusive rights to their story from here on out.
Grace, they're serious.
You want to pay us $5,000 to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, huh?
Let me see.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
Grace, what exactly does your father owe on the house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last hospital bill? A couple hundred at least.
At least.
And all we gotta do is see this herbalist fella.
We'll get our money's worth, a regular series of features with pictures following the course of your illness, treatment, recovery, or otherwise.
And you print whatever you want.
So maybe we add some color, everyone adds color.
Not interested.
Grace, you'd think it from us from the company.
Company owes us a lot more than that.
If we ever see it.
Look, Grace, you're gonna talk to them reporters anyhow. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. You girls could cash in big on this. Anyone can sympathize with the plight of some poor girl facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired. She needs her rest.
Grace, at least think about it.
Sure, I get it. Look out for number one, that's the way. But why should you sit back and keep your nose clean while everyone else is up to their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of the girls who claim they got sick here. One of them, her jaw right out so bad, I just lifted the bone out of her mouth.
All right, Dr. Neff, you can put that away.
Perhaps you'd rather look at it on the x-ray. Dr. Lehman. This was an expensive case to treat, and I never did get no compensation.
Well, I sympathize, Dr. Neff, but what does that have to do with us?
It is straight. There's going to be a lot more girls claiming they got sick here, so maybe we can play ball. You give me a list of the girls, and I'll see to it there ain't no more lawsuits.
You think you could cure them?
I couldn't put out a cure, no. I would examine them and come up with a favorable diagnosis. Pyrrhia, say.
You'd persuade them not to sue.
Correct. Quite a few will die a natural death, and the rest we put off till the statute of limitations kicks in.
Why would these girls come to you?
Anybody would, if you don't charge them nothing.
Because we be paying you.
We understand each other, Mr. Reeler.
What exactly are you asking, Dr. Knapp?
$10,000 for my trouble so far. $2 for every visit, plus expenses.
All right, absolutely not. Your proposal is immoral, and we want no part of it.
Immoral? You're a fine one to be talking about morals when you got your own hired guns ready to testify.
Those are expert witnesses.
Paid lackeys won't like
All right, good day, Dr. Neff. Mr. Lee will see you to the door.
All right. So you won't play ball with me. That's fine. Somebody else will. Believe me, there's plenty of folks wanting what I got.
Charlie, Jet, I want you to make statements about what happened today. We'll send them to the State Dental Society.
Then Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
Maybe we shouldn't be so quick to shake this off.
What are you suggesting?
Retain him as an expert.
Like Flynn?
Jet, Flynn is a highly respected professor at Columbia University. Neff is some neighborhood dentist.
Flynn treated some of the girls.
He consulted with them. He did not treat them.
He dispensed medical advice.
It wasn't medical advice. It was a scientific opinion.
For which he was well paid. We can do the same with Neff. It'll keep him quiet.
All right, this is getting out of hand.
We can handle Neff.
Neff isn't the problem. It's Von Sochke.
What about Von Sochke?
He's going to testify for the girls.
Okay. Whatever Barry's bang, we'll just offer more.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie? All right, let me explain. A guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. What Von Sochke needs is to be free. So he will never testify for us, no matter what we offer.
Every penny that I've put by in the past 7 years, I have sunk into this company. Do you know why? Because of you, Arthur.
All right, well, we were fooled, Charlie.
You said it would be a sure thing. Why work for Von Sochke when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one?
Charlie, please.
All right, look. Von Sochke fooled us all. The only thing we can do now is clean it up the best we can.
And you better hope that this stops in civil court. Because if it comes to criminal charges, don't count on me.
Criminal charges? For what?
Oh, he didn't tell you? Drinker's report.
What about Drinker's report?
It's proprietary. We were under no obligation to send it.
But we did send it to the Department of Labor.
He sent what they needed to see. Right, Arthur?
Arthur? My God.
Scientists, government men, they have no idea what it takes to run a business. All right, Von Sochke laughed at us at the very idea of promotion. All right, but look at us. We are the world's largest supplier of radium. The largest in the world. Do you know what it took to get us here? Do you think I could just stand idly by and let our good name be dragged in the mud?
As the Department of Labor, Arthur.
We just needed time,
They
Dick.
could shut us down for this.
Just a little time to set it right.
You want time? Well, let's see what Markley has to say about this. It's new evidence, right? Surely he could do something with that.
Three months to study an x-ray. It's outrageous.
Miss Barry?
How am I supposed to wait 3 more months? The girls can barely make it into the courtroom today
industrial hygienist in her own right. She helped him with his study.
Haven't we already seen this document?
You've only seen part of it. This is a complete report. Mrs. Drinker was particularly disturbed to read the article in the Ledger where Arthur Reader says that her study clears the company.
They doctored the report.
Reader pulled out a single page listing the blood conditions of the healthiest employees and passed it off as the whole thing. Doesn't look so bad by itself, now does it?
We can use this.
That should impress the judge.
Miss Wiley, I am not going to wait 3 months until we can use this. Let's call on your friend at the New York World. If Reader won't let us present our evidence in the courtroom, he'll have to read about it in the newspapers.
Very bad.
You didn't read it?
I make the point not to these days.
At the club today, someone actually said to me, "Is it true? Did your husband poison those women?" I said, "Mrs. Middleton, if you think it's true, why would you associate with me?"
I mean, what do you want me to say, Diane? Oh, I knew we were poisoning people, but I didn't want to stop because we were making too much money.
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
For God's sakes, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's Von Sajki. He's jealous of our success, and he's spreading information to the Consumers League so they can railroad us.
Why would they get
Bunch of
so-
radical women, do-gooders, half of them rights, probably. Socialists. That's what they are. Same thing with that club you belong to.
I can't, I'm sorry.
You're gonna quit that club.
Quit the club?
And stop talking to that idiot Miss Middleton. She doesn't know what
You're
she's
not
talking about.
making
Man, these women know
any
anything.
sense.
You don't know anything!
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
I have a fiduciary duty to this company.
I can't listen to
Diane, I have documents, articles, people with tumors the size of baseballs, all right? Radium therapy, the tumors disappear.
I'm tired, I'm going
You
upstairs.
can't really think I'm a liar, Diane. You can't really think I would set out to poison people.
13 girls have died!
People die every day! Young, old, children younger than Harriet die every day.
But they all worked for you!
But they work other places too. All right, Dan, I have a report from Columbia University. Dr. Frederick Flynn, an expert in industrial hygiene, same as Drinker, who says there is no connection between our plant and these illnesses.
Then, what could the cause be?
I don't know. I really don't know. Please say you believe me. I mean, if you don't, there's no point to anything.
Artie,
We save lives.
you save lives.
I mean, it's all for you. You know that, right? Everything I do, it always has been. Please don't let that be another reporter.
Arthur?
Is that Mr. Lee?
Charlie, what in God's name?
I just got this off the ledger. It's Dan. He's dead, Arthur.
What are you talking about?
We just saw him last week.
He died this morning.
But they were just here, Dan and Louise, they were just here.
They already did the autopsy. A severe anemia. The ledger's running it on page 1.
They're blaming the radium.
I told the reporter we would issue a statement at 8 o'clock.
Oh, poor Louise. We should go see her. We should go see her right now.
I wouldn't do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
She's filing a wrongful death action. Now, I worked up a statement for the paper. Dr. Daniel Lehman, company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in decline.
But Dan was never sickly. He was always out on the golf course or sailing or in their garden. They kept such a beautiful garden.
Charlie, let's take care of this in the morning, shall we?
Of course. Sorry to bring you the bad news, Mrs. Reader.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times,
You needn't explain.
but we have to say something. Shareholders will expect it.
We're getting rid of this.
Diane,
We'll have no more of it in this house.
I'm in too far to quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
I'll tell you what we should have done. We should have taken that reporter up on our offer when we had the chance.
$5,000, don't make me laugh.
And I tell you what else we should have done. We should have taken it. And we could have taken them up on it too.
Stop telling me what we should have done.
Right. Keep your shirt on.
What do you think, the red or the blue?
What's Barry say? Is she gonna go back to the company?
I like the red, but it don't fit so good these days.
Is she gonna try to talk them up a bit?
Miss Wiley thinks another interview will do the job, so I say what's one more, and might as well look good, right?
It's worth a try, don't you think? What if the company came up to 5,000?
Let them come up, I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
A settlement, just another way for them to hide.
Let them hide!
Then they win!
So they win! They're gonna win anyways!
You know what I found out today? They put lead screens in the laboratory for the technicians. Did they give us lead screens?
Grace.
And Miss Wiley says they're going to close down here.
What are we doing?
Move across the river.
What are we doing? Grace, I thought the idea was you'd settle your debts, get a better doctor, and we'd move on with things.
Move on with things?
You're still wearing my ring.
Tommy.
Look, Grace. The house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. It's not much. 2 rooms up, 2 down. But it's a start. And you'll like it. It's already got flowered wallpaper and everything. And best of all, it's only 3 blocks from the school.
What do we need with the school?
Plan ahead for once?
Tommy, what do you think's going to happen after all this is over? Do you think everything's just going to go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I got to see the surgeon again.
Okay.
I got some fluid.
Huh?
And then he says there'll be more.
We'll deal with it when it comes.
And still more, and then more, and still more. Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and getting married when you know there's nothing?
Grace, I just want for us to be together now. Right now. I want to come home to you at night. My wife. My house. I'm too old to be living like this. This in-between life. Oh, Grace, come on.
I should have done this a long time ago.
You just need some rest, that's all.
Don't make me say it.
You're not getting enough sleep.
Tommy?
Look, you get some sleep, and I'll come back tomorrow to see you.
Tommy? Don't you do this to me, Tommy!
February 21st, 1928. To Ms. Barry from Harrison, Maryland. We've examined the remains of the deceased Emilio Mejia, and our study reveals the following. Radioactive substances found in large quantities in the upper jaw, lower jaw, and lumbar vertebra. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive. Bone of dead girl kicks off gamma rays.
Captain Wiley, the Consumers League declares new evidence shows company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. This x-ray film shows that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after her death.
Will this make your case? Will this force a settlement?
Make our case? No, this gentleman will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation broke his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. von Saschke, is it true that you assisted with the autopsy?
Ja, and given my expertise with radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Mejia absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
What does this say about mild radium therapy?
Radium is responsible for the death of these poor girls.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis? That the girls have only a year to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
Grace, wake up. It's almost 4 o'clock. Mr. Markham will be here any minute. Did Miss Wiley come by? Miss Wiley? She said she was going to stop by. They took Catherine to the hospital last night. If she dies, it's over. Sweetheart, I'll tell you what.
when you get that check and you pay the bank and the doctor and the coal man, we have plenty left over for you and Tom to help you get started.
Nothing to start, Mom. Why you gotta be so hard on Tom? Can't you see he just can't face the thought of you not being without him?
I have to face it, why can't he?
The thing with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Why, I can't imagine. Ma, you didn't tell me I had mail. They just keep writing, don't they? She was here. Ma, Miss Wiley was here. She left me a note.
Miss Fryer, Edward Markley.
Ma said you brought some papers.
Yes. Term spelled out. $5,000 to you. I've got a check right here. All we need is your signature.
This is a confidential settlement.
That's right.
Grace, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Mr. Markley, what's contributory negligence?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
It's what you said in court. Contributory negligence means it's our fault, isn't it?
Maybe you could just leave the papers, Mr. Markley.
Maybe he could just answer my question.
Why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me Miss Wiley was here?
She's only trying to talk you out of it.
What did she say about Catherine?
If you could just leave the papers, Mr.
What
Markley.
did she say about
She
Catherine?
said it don't look good.
Perhaps I should come back
You
later.
can answer my question. And I really like the answer, because let me tell you, at your factory, they told us what to do, how to do it. I didn't cause trouble. I wasn't raised that way. I did what I was told. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
Miss Fryer, we deeply regret your situation, but there is no evidence linking your case to the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
Humanitarian? Month after month, you put us off, delay after delay, knowing how tired we were, how sick, how desperate. Humanitarian? You've been waiting for us to die.
This is a very generous offer, and I advise you to take it, or else we will be forced to withdraw it permanently.
You're just trying to bully me.
Very well then. See you in court.
You'll see me there if they have to carry me 8 feet first.
You call that man back.
I'm going to court.
You're never gonna win.
I don't care. I want those people to look at me and explain how it's my fault I got sick working in their factory.
What good is that gonna do you?
Mom, all my life, I'd done what other people told me to do. I never said, please, can I finish school? I never said I didn't like the taste of the paint, even though I knew. Ma, I knew something wasn't right. At night, I'd lie in bed and see my dress in the closet door all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush on the dresser. So much light, Mom. So much light, and I never once questioned. I never once asked. Don't you see, they knew I wouldn't. It's what they were counting on.
You know, I left messages with your housekeeper, and I know you got the messages.
As we are no longer in business together, I thought it best not to respond.
Is this what this is about? Getting revenge?
Revenge.
Losing the company, losing your business. Now you're getting back at us for it? For spreading lies about us?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves.
You never said the paint was dangerous. You never said a word. Not to me, not to Dan.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint, and you didn't know. How can you lie like that?
I didn't know until it was too late, Arthur.
No, I was not the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was the technical man. Sit down, Arthur.
I mean, I sold watches. I was a salesman.
A good one at that. Very good head for the business you had. Not such a good head for the science, but for the business, very smart. Always you could find ways to cut the costs without losing the quality. That's a gift, Arthur. So, why don't you have some tea?
What's the matter with your hands? You've been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink. How fond of the pretty store you are. If only it were ink. No, Dr. Markland tells me it's a necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they are dying. With the dial painters in the jaw it starts. With me, it's the hands.
I had no idea.
It's been a long time since we've seen each other.
How long?
The necrosis? A few months, but I've known for a while. Miss Wiley of the Consumers League asked me to assist Dr. Markland in testing the dial painters for radiant exposure. There are not many people around, you know, that can measure that sort of thing. She came to me, knowing I had the equipment and, of course, the skill. I didn't believe her either. I didn't want to believe that the girls could get sick from working with my paint. I wanted to show her it was a mistake. So I agreed to help. Dr. Markland and I conducted expired air tests on the girls. It was then that I found out, when my own breath registered the radioactive. Now, you wish to have words with me.
Sorry.
Perhaps you should see Dr. Markland.
Me? What for?
You did not notice the glowing dust on your shoes as you went home at night?
I bet not. I tracked it all over the house.
You can be sure that a good deal of it is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
Our old promotional piece.
An excellent promotion. How many sales did that book account for?
I didn't track it exactly. I like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96. Open it. The last chapter.
The last chapter? Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. Now, how many articles do you have listed there? 10, 15?
No. 18 it looks like.
And how far back do they go, those articles?
I don't know.
Look at it. The first one. What is the date?
1906.
1906. Now, let me see. You plan to go into court and testify that you did not know that radium was dangerous. How can you do that, Arthur? When your own book says that it was. How can you claim that you did not know?
I never really read it.
How's that?
I never really read it. I hired an outside man to put it together. I only glanced at the galleys. I never really read it.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. An outside company prepared the piece. They were responsible for the content.
Which you never read.
I think what you'll find, Ms. Berry, is that very few company presidents read their own promotional pieces word for word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the book's release and you had final approval of all content, yet you claim you never read it.
Mr. Lee was in charge of our promotional efforts at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918?
Yes, plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
And during those 4 years, did you ever venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have observed the girls pointing the brushes on their lips.
I don't recall.
You mean to say that you were in the studio every day and you never saw a single girl put a brush to her lips?
I said I don't recall.
No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley.
We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, counsel, please approach. I'm ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this proceeding is to determine standing. I have heard enough these past 2 days to make that determination. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing poison source in their systems. Nothing your witnesses say can change that fact. In the interest of justice, I ask that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
Fine. Therefore, I rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted and these girls have standing to sue.
Your Honor, one thing. I have a very busy schedule right now with 2 cases pending, and I have a key witness not available until the end of summer. We can't be available until September.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, our chief expert witness is involved in an institution of higher learning, and this is his busiest time of year. I can't expect him to appear.
Mr. Markley is responsible for the situation. He's the one who demanded continuous delays.
Your Honor, surely you can expect us to present our defense without our key witness.
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Edward, why can't Flynn appear?
He's going to Europe.
Europe? He's known about this for months. How could he? Oh. I see. Very clever, Edward. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
That girl, Edward. She keeps staring at me. How do I make her understand? I didn't want this to happen.
You don't. You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
She looks like death.
They all look like death.
Grace, that man. That man, Miss Wiley, he wouldn't look at me. He would never look at me.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
How many were there?
Oh, hundreds worked for us. Dozens died.
And they won their case?
Never made it to trial. We settled. Made big headlines. $10,000 for each girl. Plus medical expenses for life. Which wasn't all that much for most of them. This is where she sat. One of the fastest girls on the floor. You know, in the courtroom that day, I caught her looking at me with so much anger in her eyes.
Oh, Papa.
You know, I looked away. But afterwards, on the steps outside, I had a chance to talk to her.
What did you say?
I couldn't speak.
He was afraid to speak.
I had my chance, and I couldn't speak.
That man was afraid of me.
I mean, how could I explain to her? I had my shareholders to think about.
It wasn't your fault. No one knew about things like that then. Science just wasn't as advanced. The way it is now.
You know, I think back to those times, coming up the steps to this room, it was filled with light, and it was chalky, you know, like an old school classroom. And all those girls, schoolgirls, really, just bent to the task, their delicate hands moving so quickly. No man could work the way those girls did. So careful, so fast, their hands flying from the dials to the paint to the dials to their lips. You know, try as I might, Harriet, try as I might, cannot for the life of me remember their faces. I never saw their faces.